He must be an awful man. You know, it reminds me when I was growing up in the 80s and a lot of the movements that are now sort of part of the culture that we're pressured to bow to, we're starting to form, like on the fringe societies, you know, the tiny little department at Penn State or something of some of these studies. You know, nobody took them seriously. Well, we should have. But they used to say, when conservatives would start to say, oh my goodness, you know, I remember when they would say, you know, when they were trying to get recognition at some level for homosexuality, the conservatives were saying, wait a minute, they're going to want marriage. And everybody, you're foolish. Marriage is a man and a woman. Don't be a conspiracy theorist. Don't be some radical. Nobody's talking about marriage. We're just talking that we would just recognize homosexuality as something okay. And they did the same thing with and everything else. You're crazy if you think it's going to go there. And they used to say when someone would try to get a law and protect marriage, they say, you can't legislate morality. Didn't they always say that to us? You can't legislate morality. Now, the truth in that is what? You can't, by passing a law, make something good or evil. Well, of course. No, that doesn't even need to be spoken. But the fact of the matter is, every law that we have has to be based upon what is good or evil, or it's an unjust law. Even the moral philosophers understood that. No group of human beings has the right to curtail or restrict any other human being unless it's a matter of good and evil. Every law that we have, speed limit laws, that has to be based upon the good of saving life. And that's why it's a just law. Unless the speed limit's ridiculous. I mean, they can make it 5 miles an hour on the highway or something. But every law is an example of a moral that we pass a principle from, and it has to go back to that, or it's an unjust law. No man has the right to pass laws willy-nilly. You know, everybody has to wear a red hat on Thursdays. That's an unjust law. There's no reason for that in morals. So everything has to be grounded in morals. But I want to go a step further. Typically when we say you can't legislate morality, we also mean that by passing laws you can't actually make people believe right or wrong. And you know, that's absolutely not true. First time I read that was in Thomas Aquinas. I didn't believe it when I read it. Where he said that by passing laws, the government actually can shape the morals of the people. That's exactly what we're seeing today. Before gay marriage was passed into law by the court legislating from the bench illegally and unconstitutionally, before that happened, every poll that was ever taken, national or at a state, including California, and several polls were taken in California because they were trying to add an amendment to their state constitution to protect marriage as just being between one man and one woman. Every poll, a majority of Americans always was against gay marriage. Every poll, every one, national, state, California, 3 times. All the Californians, the majority of them, and it was a strong majority, did not want gay marriage. And you know what happened after gay marriage became the law of the land? Within a year, the majority of Americans said it was a good thing. And the majority's grown each year since then. Do you know why? Because you can legislate morality. Because the crowd follows the leaders. And the leaders said, crucify him. And so this crowd that probably did not go into that market square that morning wanting to crucify Jesus, they're now cheering for it. And let me just say this, if you're not grounded in the Word of God, you're going to be led astray by the crowd today. You are going to be led, you probably already have, and you don't realize it. And you're real self-righteous about it because you think you're so much more enlightened as you go along with evil and condemn certain things in the Bible. Are you going to stand with the Word of God? Or are you going to stand with the word, really, of Satan, ultimately? And that's what we have to see in this text. The most important verse